campus is often regarded as the purest and simplest place in society, but in reality, utilitarian comparison and snobbish judgment have long penetrated every corner of university life. Many college students take family wealth, pocket money, brand name clothing, and part-time job grades as the standard to divide social classes. They arrogantly label students with ordinary family backgrounds as mediocre, poor, and low grade, and take pleasure in mocking and bullying low-key peers to satisfy their superficial vanity. Tiancheng Downtown Commercial Building is the absolute core landmark of Qingqing City. It is a 38-story super high-rise commercial complex integrating luxury shopping malls, high-end office buildings, five-star business hotels, premium catering streets, and top-tier entertainment clubs. It is located in the most prosperous central business district of the city, with a daily passenger flow of hundreds of thousands and an annual operating income of billions of dollars. All first-tier luxury brands, listed company offices, and high-end social venues in Qingcheng are settled here. This towering commercial building is the symbol of Qingqing's economic prosperity and the supreme wealth landmark in the eyes of all local citizens and college students. Ordinary people can only consume casually in the low-level shopping mall area, and they have no access to the top-floor private clubs and high-end office areas. In the cognition of all university students in the city, the owner of Tiancheng Commercial Building is a mysterious top-tier billionaire who stands at the pinnacle of Qingqing's business circle, a figure they can never touch in their entire lives. No one knows, not even my closest classmates and teachers, that this entire 38-story super commercial complex, all shop properties, office floors, hotel venues, and supporting commercial assets are my 100% private exclusive property. I am the sole behind-the-scenes owner of Tiancheng Commercial Building, controlling the core commercial lifeline of Qingqing City. My name is Lin Mo. I am a sophomore student at Qingqing University. While studying normally in school, I have been secretly laying out urban commercial assets for 3 years. With precise investment vision and unique business thinking, I successfully acquired the equity and property rights of Tiancheng Commercial Building at a low price during the industry downturn and completely monopolized the core commercial resources of Qingqing's central district. All the brand store managers, enterprise executives, hotel managers, and commercial operations staff in the entire building work for me. All the huge rental fees, operating profits, and brand settlement fees of the commercial building flow into my personal account every year. My personal net assets have long exceeded billions of dollars, far surpassing all the so-called wealthy businessmen and school celebrities in the city. After possessing terrifying wealth, I have never chosen to publicize my identity or show off my assets I have seen through the vanity and snobbery of the upper class and campus society long ago. I prefer to keep a low profile and experience the most ordinary campus life. I wear cheap street clothes worth less than $100, eat ordinary campus canteen meals, live in a standard 4-person dormitory, and never take the initiative to participate in any wealthy parties or elite social activities. In order to exercise myself and experience ordinary life more truly, I deliberately took the cheapest part-time job in the commercial building during my spare time, a basic supermarket shelf restocker with an hourly salary of only $10, responsible for sorting goods and tidying up shelves in the negative-floor supermarket of my own commercial building. This ordinary part-time job has become the biggest laughingstock of my classmates. All my roommates and classmates think that I am poor and financially strapped, so I can only rely on this tiring and low-paid part-time job to earn living expenses. They often mock me in public, belittle my family background, and take every opportunity to trample on my dignity to highlight their so-called superior family conditions. Among all the mocking classmates, Wang Hao is the most arrogant and snobbish. His family runs a small local trading company with a mediocre annual income, which is not worth mentioning in the real wealthy circle. But relying on his slightly better family conditions than ordinary students, he has become a famous school celebrity in our college. He wears brand-name clothes, carries luxury bags, drives a luxury scooter to and from school, and always gathers a group of followers around him. Wang Hao has long taken pleasure in bullying me. He thinks I am dull, poor, and unambitious, and often takes the lead in driving the whole class to mock my cheap part-time job, ridicule my shabby dressing, and belittle my future. He even boasted repeatedly that with his family's connections and wealth, he could easily crush my ordinary life and make me struggle at the bottom forever. The class weekend gathering became the complete outbreak point of all grievances. Wang Hao took the initiative to publicize my part-time job experience in front of all classmates, humiliated me wantonly, and even put forward extremely insulting requests. He never imagined that the lowly shelf restocker he mocked crazily was the supreme boss who owned the entire commercial building where I worked. # the climax of humiliation, public ridicule at the class luxury gathering. On a weekend evening, the student union of our college organized a class luxury dinner party, and the venue was set at the high-end private banquet hall on the 28th floor of Tiancheng Commercial Building. This banquet hall is a top-tier customized dining venue in the commercial building with extremely high consumption thresholds. Ordinary students are never qualified to enter, and even small business owners need to book in advance and pay high service fees. All classmates dressed up carefully for this gathering. The female students wore delicate makeup and trendy designer clothes, and the male students wore neat brand name casual wear. Everyone tried their best to show their superior family conditions and fashionable taste, eager to gain the admiration of their classmates. Only I wore my usual plain white t-shirt, black casual pants, and ordinary canvas shoes, without any dressing up. I originally planned to refuse the gathering, but considering that it was a collective class activity, I finally chose to attend quietly, not wanting to be too out of place. As soon as I stepped into the luxurious banquet hall, I immediately attracted countless strange looks. All classmates whispered and pointed at me, their eyes full of undisguised contempt and ridicule. In their eyes, my plain and cheap dressing was completely incompatible with this high-end luxury venue, like a rustic outsider who strayed into the elite gathering by mistake. Wang Hao sat in the center of the main table, surrounded by a group of flattering classmates. He held a glass of expensive imported red wine, leaned back on the luxury leather chair arrogantly, and glanced at me with disdainful eyes. The moment I sat down in the corner seat, he took the lead in speaking loudly, deliberately letting the whole class hear clearly. Everyone take a look. Our classmate Lin Imo is really down to earth. He dares to come to the 28th floor luxury banquet in his dozens of dollars of cheap clothes. I really admire his thick skin. As soon as his words fell, the entire banquet hall burst into loud laughter. All classmates looked at me with teasing and mocking eyes, and the atmosphere of ridicule instantly filled the entire luxurious venue. A female classmate covered her mouth and laughed, her tone full of superiority. Lin Imo, you are too frugal. Look at all of us wearing brand new trendy clothes. Only you wear old, ordinary clothes. Aren't you embarrassed to sit here with us? Another male classmate echoed jokingly. It's not that he's frugal, it's that he has no money. I heard he takes a cheap part-time job in the negative floor supermarket of this building every day, sorting shelves and tidying up goods for $10 an hour. It's really the most lowly part-time job in the whole commercial building. These words made the laughter in the venue more intense. All kinds of mocking and discriminatory words rushed towards me like a tide, making me the sole laughingstock of the entire class gathering. Wang Hao's vanity was greatly satisfied. He put down the red wine glass in his hand, stood up proudly, walked straight towards me, and looked down at me with extremely arrogant eyes, like a noble looking down on a humble commoner. Lin Imo, I really pity you. We are all college students of the same grade. Look at us. We go shopping, drink coffee, and attend luxury parties every day, living a decent elite life. But you can only rely on working hard as a shelf restocker to earn living expenses. The gap between us is wider than the sky. You work in my family's frequent consumption commercial building every day, running around for a few dollars of hourly salary. Don't you feel inferior? Don't you feel that your life is a complete failure? I looked up at him calmly, my tone flat and unwavering. Part-time jobs have no distinction between high and low. Every job that relies on one's own labor to make money is worthy of respect. There is no failure in living down to earth. This low-key and rational response not only failed to stop their ridicule, but made Wang Hao laugh even more wildly. He leaned over, stared at me condescendingly, and taunted sharply. No distinction between high and low. You are really good at comforting yourself. A shelf restocker who tidies up goods for others also dares to talk about dignity and equality? Let me tell you the cruel truth. In this society, money and status are the only dignity. This Tiancheng commercial building is the upper-class social circle that only rich people can access. People like you who work at the bottom of the building will never be able to integrate into this circle in your life. You can only watch us wealthy people consume and enjoy from afar. The surrounding classmates all nodded in agreement, their eyes full of approval. In their cognition, Wang Hao's family was wealthy and powerful, and he was born to stand at the top, while I was poor and humble, destined to struggle at the bottom all my life. Wang Hao became more arrogant after seeing the unanimous approval of the crowd. He took out a $100 bill from his wallet, threw it casually on the ground in front of me, and ordered me in a condescending tone. Lin Imo, I'll give you a chance to make easy money. Kneel down and pick up this money for me, then bow and apologize for your lowly status, and I'll give you this $100 as a reward. It's enough for you to work hard for 10 hours in the supermarket. Or you could be my personal errand boy in the future. I'll pay you a monthly salary higher than your part-time job, help me buy meals, take express delivery, and run errands. This is the best way out for a poor guy like you. This extremely insulting scene made the whole banquet hall boil over. All classmates whistled and laughed loudly, taking my dignity as a tool for entertainment and fun. Everyone was waiting for me to bow my head and admit defeat, to become the biggest joke of the night. Many people even took out their mobile phones to take photos and record videos, ready to spread my embarrassing scene in the class group and campus forum, letting the whole school laugh at my incompetence and humbleness. Faced with the endless humiliation and ridicule of the whole class, my patience finally completely exhausted. I have always kept a low profile, willing to be ordinary, and never took the initiative to compete or show off. I tolerated their superficial snobbery again and again, but my humility was regarded as cowardice, and my low profile became their capital to bully me wantonly. They indulged in trivial family superiority, ridiculed my legitimate labor, trampled on my personal dignity, and were extremely arrogant and ignorant. They had no idea that the high-end commercial building they yearned for, the luxury venue they flocked to, and the upper-class circle they admired were all built on my assets. The supermarket where I work part-time is my own property, the banquet hall where they gather is my private venue, and all the luxury consumption they envy is supported by my commercial empire. Since they are so obsessed with money and status, so good at judging people by superficial conditions, and so fond of humiliating the low-key and humble, I will completely crush their false superiority with absolute strength today, let them see the real gap between us, and make them pay a painful price for their snobbery and ignorance. Hashtag explosive full identity reversal. The lowly part-timer is the building's supreme owner. The gentle and calm look on my face completely faded in an instant. A cold and domineering aura suddenly swept the entire luxurious banquet hall. The noisy laughter and noisy discussions disappeared in an instant, and a strong sense of oppression made all the playful classmates hold their breath involuntarily. The entire banquet hall fell dead silent in a second. All the students who were laughing and teasing just now froze on the spot, their expressions stiff and their eyes full of inexplicable shock. The arrogant smile on Wang Hao's face also froze rigidly. He looked at me blankly, feeling the terrifying aura emanating from me, and a strong sense of unease surged in his heart. "What's your attitude? Are you angry because I told the truth? A poor part-timer also dares to put on a cold face for me." Wang Hao forced himself to be arrogant, shouting stubbornly to cover up his inner unease. I slowly stood up from the corner seat, my tall and straight figure exuding unparalleled dignity. My cold eyes swept over every mocking classmate present, and finally fixed on the pale-faced Wang Hao. My deep and powerful voice resounded clearly throughout the entire silent banquet hall. "You laugh at me for being a shell-free stalker, mock me for being poor and humble, throw money at me to trample on my dignity, and rely on your trivial family conditions to bully others wantonly. Do you really think your so-called superiority is real success?" Wang Hao stiffened his neck and shouted loudly, "So what? I have wealth and status that you can never catch up with. I can consume freely in this high-end commercial building, but you can only work at the bottom. This is the irreversible gap between us." "Irreversible gap?" I sneered coldly. "The gap between us is that you are lingering in my territory, showing off your ridiculous and trivial superiority, but you don't even know who the real master here is." As soon as my words fell, the elevator door at the end of the banquet hall suddenly opened. A group of senior management personnel in neat black custom suits walked in quickly and respectfully. They held official property certificates, commercial operation documents, and supreme access badges, with extremely solemn and reverent expressions on their faces. Walking at the front was Zhang Cheng, the General Operation Director of Tiancheng Commercial Building, the highest-ranking manager in charge of all daily operations, merchant management, and venue services of the entire building. He controls the work of thousands of employees in the building, and even wealthy business people who spend millions in the building have to take the initiative to greet and flatter him respectfully. All the classmates in the banquet hall were instantly stunned. They stared at the imposing group of senior executives in shock, completely unable to understand why the top person in charge of Tiancheng Commercial Building would suddenly lead a team to appear at their student gathering. Before anyone could recover from the shock, Director Zhang Cheng led all the senior management team to walk straight towards me at the fastest speed. Under the gaze of all the petrified classmates, the usually aloof and powerful director of the commercial building bent his waist 90 degrees deeply, bowed respectfully, and shouted in a trembling and extremely reverent voice that echoed throughout the entire floor. "Respected Boss Lin, all senior operation management staff of Tiancheng Commercial Building are here to greet you. We are extremely guilty for failing to protect your private venue and allowing disrespectful behavior to happen. Please forgive our dereliction of duty." Boom. The entire 28th floor luxury banquet hall completely exploded into earth-shaking uproar. All classmates were completely petrified on the spot, their brains blank, their bodies stiff, falling into unprecedented extreme shock and disbelief. The arrogant and domineering expression on Wang Hao's face completely collapsed in an instant. His legs went weak, and he slumped heavily to the ground with a dull thud. The $100 bill he threw on the ground fluttered and fell at his feet, extremely dazzling and ironic. Cold sweat instantly soaked through his whole body, and his whole body kept trembling violently, like a sieve. All the classmates who had mocked and ridiculed me just now opened their mouths wide, staring at the scene in front of them in a daze, completely unable to close their mouths. Their faces were full of horror, incredulity, and endless regret. The lowly shelf restocker they laughed at, the poor student they despised, the humble classmate they bullied wantonly, was actually the supreme boss of Tiancheng Commercial Building, the top billionaire they could never climb up to in their entire lives. The high-end banquet hall where they were holding a luxury gathering was my private exclusive venue. The entire commercial building where they admired the upper-class consumption and elite circle was all my personal private property. The trivial family wealth and status that Wang Hao was proud of were not even worth a fraction of my assets. Zhang Qing stood up straight, took out the highest level property ownership certificate and commercial equity documents with both hands, and publicly announced to all the stunned classmates in a loud and solemn tone. I solemnly announce to all present today, Mr. Lin Mo is the sole legal owner, absolute controlling shareholder, and founder of Qingqing Tiancheng Commercial Building. All 38 floors of commercial venues, all brand shop properties, office building rights, hotel operating rights, and all supporting commercial assets of Tiancheng Commercial Building are 100% privately owned by Mr. Lin Montak. All merchants, employees, and management personnel in the building work for Mr. Lin Mo. All annual operating profits, rental income, and brand settlement fees of the commercial building belong exclusively to Mr. Lin Mo's personal assets. Mr. Lin Mo's part-time job as a supermarket shelf restocker is just his personal low-key life experience and private inspection behavior. He has no shortage of money or status, but simply chooses to be ordinary and low-key. The luxury venue you are in now is the supreme private customized banquet hall reserved for Mr. Lin Mo all year round. Ordinary wealthy people are not qualified to book and enter it at all. These sonorous and powerful words were like continuous thunderclaps exploding over everyone's heads, completely shattering all their superficial cognition, snobbish prejudice, and false superiority. Everyone finally woke up completely. The mediocre and poor student they ridiculed and bullied was the real top business tycoon standing at the peak of Qingqing's commercial circle. I stood calmly in the center of the banquet hall, my cold eyes slowly sweeping over the desperate and terrified Wang Hao and all the ashamed classmates, and my powerful voice resounded throughout the silent venue. I take a part-time job to experience life, not to make money. I wear ordinary clothes to keep a low profile, not because I am poor. I own this entire commercial building, overlooking all the wealthy businessmen and elites who come here to consume. For me, this so-called high-end upper-class venue is just an ordinary place under my name, not a capital for showing off and arrogance. You rely on your parents' trivial family wealth to bully your classmates, mock labor, and trample on others' dignity. You take other people's low-key humility as cowardice and take trivial superiority as capital to show off. Your so-called success and dignity are the most ridiculous jokes in the eyes of real strength. Dignity is never given by money and status, but earned by one's own character and conduct. Those who snobbery the weak, fawn on the strong, and judge others by superficial conditions are the most humble and incompetent people. Every word was sonorous and powerful, hitting the hearts of all classmates hard, making their previous ridicule and bullying extremely embarrassing and ridiculous. All classmates hung their heads deeply, their faces burning with shame, and no one dared to raise their heads to look at me again. #Zero Mercy thorough counterattack and desperate final ending. After recovering from extreme shock and fear, Wang Hao completely collapsed mentally. He knelt heavily on the smooth marble floor, kowtowed repeatedly in panic, tears and snot streaming down his face, and begged for mercy hoarsely with a trembling voice. "Boss Lin, classmate Lin, I'm wrong. I'm blind and ignorant. I don't know your noble identity. I relied on your commercial venue to pretend to be superior, bullied you arrogantly, and humiliated your dignity. I'm extremely stupid and ungrateful. Please forgive my fault. Don't punish my family's company. I beg you." Wang Hao is scared out of his wits. His family's small trading company has always relied on settling in the office building of Tiancheng Commercial Building to carry out business. All the company's office venues, customer resources, and business development are completely dependent on my commercial building resources. He clearly knew that with a single word from me, I could completely cut off his family's business path and make his family's company go bankrupt overnight. All the other classmates who had echoed the ridicule, taken photos and videos to mock me, also knelt down tremblingly one after another, their faces full of pale regret and fear. They kept apologizing repeatedly, begging for my forgiveness, fearing that their impulsive behavior would bring terrible consequences to their families and themselves. Lynn and Mo, we're sorry. We were superficial and snobbish. We shouldn't have mocked your part-time job and bullied you. Please don't take it to heart. We know we're wrong. We will never judge others by appearance and wealth again. Please give us a chance to correct our mistakes. Looking at the group of kneeling and begging crowd, I had no slightest pity in my eyes. Snobbery and bullying have no excuse for forgiveness. My low-key and kindness is my self-cultivation, never the capital for others to trample on my dignity arbitrarily. I turned my eyes to Director Zhang Chung beside me and gave my cold and decisive order without any hesitation. First, immediately terminate the office lease contract of Wang Hao's family trading company in Tiancheng Commercial Building, clear all their office venues within 24 hours, permanently blacklist their company and all family members, and prohibit them from cooperating, settling, or consuming in all venues under my group for life, completely cutting off all their business development channels in Qingcheng. Second, collect all photos and videos taken by the mocking classmates today, prohibit them from spreading any relevant content, and order all of them to publicly apologize to me in the whole grade and campus forum, thoroughly eliminating the bad influence of their snobbish bullying behavior. Third, permanently prohibit all classmates who participated in humiliating me today from entering all high-end venues, shopping malls, and clubs of Tiancheng Commercial Building. All their family members are included in the consumption blacklist, and they will never enjoy any service and consumption qualifications in my commercial venues for life. Fourth, take this incident as a typical warning. Carry out comprehensive moral publicity in all merchant-settled enterprises and campus cooperative units under the group, advocate respect for labor and equal personality, and severely crack down on snobbish comparison and bullying behavior. Fifth, adjust the group's public welfare strategy, launch a campus low-income student support plan, subsidize hardworking part-time college students, advocate positive values of relying on labor to make money, and completely reverse the bad social atmosphere of worshiping money and despising labor. Execute all orders immediately with zero delay. Yes, we will strictly implement all Boss Lin's instructions perfectly. Zhang Chung and all senior executives bowed respectfully and responded loudly without the slightest hesitation. In an instant, Wang Hao's family company completely lost its office venue and all local business resources. The company's capital chain completely collapsed, and it was forced to declare bankruptcy within 3 days. His family's decades of hard work turned into bubbles overnight, and his originally decent family fell into complete decline. He went from an arrogant school celebrity to a poor student with a bankrupt family, suffering endless ridicule and exclusion in school. All the snobbish classmates lost their access to the city's most prosperous commercial building. They could no longer consume and entertain in the high-end venues they once yearned for, and their usual vanity show-off completely lost its carrier. They publicly apologized on the campus forum, becoming the laughingstock of the whole school, and endured long-term shame and condemnation. The entire Tiancheng Commercial Building completely eliminated the subtle atmosphere of worshiping money and discriminating against labor. All merchants and employees respected every laborer and ordinary consumer, regardless of status and wealth. The social reputation and public praise of the commercial building reached an unprecedented peak. All students in the college learned a profound and unforgettable lesson. They finally deeply understood that real wealth and status never need to be shown off deliberately. The truly powerful people are always low-key and humble, while only superficial and incompetent people rely on trivial advantages to bully others and satisfy their vanity. I glanced indifferently at the group of desperate and regretful people kneeling on the ground, turned around calmly, and left the luxurious banquet hall quietly. All senior management staff stood respectfully on both sides to make way for me, full of endless awe and shame. Real nobility lies in inner character, not superficial material packaging. Labor is always noble, and humility is always precious. Those who judge others by wealth, bully the low-key, and trample on others' dignity will eventually be crushed by the real strength they can never touch and pay irreversible, painful prices for their ignorance and snobbery. Kindness has edges, and tolerance has boundaries, and my willingness to be ordinary is my choice, but never the reason for others to be arrogant and domineering. Anyone who dares to trample on my dignity and bully the humble will surely bear the bitter consequences of their own mistakes.